Hey guys, this is Perry Jones here. I've recently had some people on Facebook talking to me about the impact that Sylvans are going to have on the meta, especially going into Primal Origins, and so I just wanted to do a video talking about some of the just absolutely ridiculous plays that this deck is capable of making. For one of the plays that I wanted to show you, I'm going to start off with a sample hand. Just to show you, ideally what you want to open is you want to open Mount Sylvania, this field spell. This card is amazing because it just does so many things all in one card. What it does is, once per turn you can send one plant-type monster face up on your field or in your hand to the graveyard to put any Sylvan card on the top of your deck, which is amazing because it sets up your excavates. The other effect is that during your opponent's end phase, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and then if it is a plant-type monster, it goes to the graveyard and triggers its excavate effect, which is amazing if you get like a Marshall Leaf or a Kamusha Ramu, because then you can blow up on your opponent's cards during their turn. And if it isn't a plant-type monster, then you get to decide whether it goes on the top or bottom of your deck. So it also allows you, even if you don't get your excavate effects, to set up your draw for the next turn, which is just amazing. So you want to obviously open with that. Barely even have to explain this. You obviously want to open Lone Fire Blossom just because the card summons any monster in your deck. It's just ridiculous. You want 1-for-1 because for your synchro plays, you're going to want the 1-for-1 to get you to your spore so that you don't have to use a normal summon to get to it. Obviously Dandelion. Dandelion with Mount Sylvania or 1-for-1 is just way too good, because you pitch the Dandelion from your hand for either of those cards to either get your spore with 1-for-1 and set up some synchro plays, or with Mount Sylvania to set up your excavate plays, which is just ridiculous because it's free tokens. In place of the Dandelion, you could also get the Foolish Burial. You also Super Solar Nutrient. Super Solar Nutrient is amazing with Dandelion because you contribute one of the fluff tokens you get off of Dandelion that you don't need to get another Lone Fire from your deck, which is just another free special summon of a big monster, as we'll see as I go into it early. And then, just for your 6th card, you just want any other monster. It's not really particular. You just want another monster to have other pitch options for your card plays. So with this sample hand, I'm going to show you a play that allows you to do something just absolutely ridiculous. So to start off this play, what I would do is I'd first start off by summoning Lone Fire. You can then activate Lone Fire's effect to treat itself to get Sylvan Guardy Oak. Now, a lot of people online prefer to use their Lone Fire plays for Hermitry because you get the excavate of 1, and then if it's a plant, you get to draw a card, which, don't get me wrong, is amazingly good. But Guardy Oak being able to excavate up to 3 is clinch, because when you don't have Mount Sylvania, you have a higher probability of getting the excavate of the cards that you want to continue your plays. Otherwise, your plays just end up not being as good. So then at this point, what I would do is I would activate Mount Sylvania, and then I would activate its effect, sending Dandelion from my hand to the graveyard, getting my 2 tokens, to put Sylvan Peacekeeper on top of my deck. And what Peacekeeper is going to do is when Peacekeeper is excavated, you get to special summon any level 4 or lower plant-type monster from your graveyard. The only catch being, of course, that you can only use it once, which is still broken enough in and of itself, because when it's milled, you special summon Lone Fire from the grave, which is just nutty. So we're going to put this guy on top of the deck. Then from there, I would go ahead and activate Guardy Oak. Well, hold on. First I would do 1-for-1, because I want to get the spore before I excavate it. So I would just pitch my extra monster to special summon this. Here I am doing things in reverse. Now, I would go ahead and do the excavate of Guardy Oak, getting your 3, your Peacekeeper, an MST, which is going to go to the bottom of your deck, and another Guardy Oak. So then both of their effects will activate. So Guardy Oak would allow you to put any of these guys back on top of your deck, which I'm just not even going to do because it's not even necessary at this point. But the Peacekeeper is the one I really wanted because the Peacekeeper is going to bring back Lone Fire. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate 1 for 1, sending my extra monster to the graveyard to get the Spore, which coincidentally was the top card of my deck. And now this play here is just going to allow you to do some ridiculous things. And I'll show you that in just a second. With this field, just because, you want to get some pluses in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to Super Solar Nutrient with one of the tokens to get a Lone Fire from my deck. What Super Solar Nutrient allows you to do is, when you activate it by attributing 1 level 2 or lower plant-type monster, and special summon any plant-type monster whose level is equal to or lower than the attributed monster plus 3. So with the level 1 token, I could have gotten a level 4. But in most cases, you're going to want to get to Lone Fire Blossom, just because Lone Fire Blossom gets you through past the level restriction of Super Solar Nutrient. Not to mention Super Solar Nutrient, when it is destroyed, the monster that it brought out gets destroyed. So if you tribute off the Lone Fire, destroying the Nutrient, the monster that Lone Fire brings out gets around the weakness of Super Solar Nutrient. So it's just an amazing play because it means that, it's basically like, Call of the Haunting, using Call of the Haunted on something and then not having to worry about your opponent MSTing it. It's just really good. So at this point, I'm then going to tribute the Lone Fire to get a Hermitry. And then I'm going to tribute the other Lone Fire to get another Hermitry. From there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to synchro the Spore with my other token to special summon Formula Synchron. Formula Synchron is going to net me a card, which in this case just happens to be bottomless. And then I'm going to activate Spore's effect, banishing Peacekeeper to bring back Spore's level 2 tuner. As a level 2 tuner, he's going to synchro with Guardy Oak for Stardust Dragon. And then Stardust Dragon and Formula Synchron are going to synchro for Shooting Star Dragon. And just as if bringing out 2 27 beaters and a Shooting Star Dragon with a card still in hand isn't insane enough, I'm now going to activate each of my Hermitry's effect. Hermitry's effect is, once per turn you can excavate the top card of your deck. If it's a plant, it goes to the graveyard and you draw a card. So the first Hermitry's effect is going to go off, and in this case it's a Fiendish Chain, so it goes to the bottom of the deck. No problem. The second Hermitry's effect is going to get Debris Dragon, which is also not a plant, so no additional draw. No harm, no foul. The amazing thing with that is that if either of these goes off, you net an extra free card, which is just amazingly ridiculous. Not to mention, if you're going second and you're playing through other cards, excavating a Martial Leaf destroys a monster, Commotion Remove destroys back row. It's just, you have so many toolbox plays in this deck. So then I would just overlay the 2 level 8s, assuming I'm going first, into Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. And then as I have the bottomless of my hand, I would set this. So really, at this point, you've established such an incredibly difficult field to deal with, because with the ability to have basically an effect failure on legs with Felgrand, and being able to negate an attack and any destruction effect that your opponent might have to try and get stuff off of your field. Plus, if you have backer to back it up like bottomless, this can literally, for most decks, just be an insurmountable field to deal with. And then, of course, if that isn't bad enough, you also have your Sylvania, which is, excavating during their end phase or setting up your draws for the next turn. So in this instance, Sylvania makes to the end of the turn, I would be excavating, well, the top card of my deck is actually a mistake. It's proxied because the other one's in my Noble Knight side deck. What?
You're too far away, you can't see any of the cards.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Ain't that a motherfucker?
Go down your system.